Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
There's a diminished amount of partying going on in the United States. I mean, really, I think across North America. Up here in Canada, we're definitely seeing that as well. I feel like Wayne and Garth would be incensed to find out that people are not partying on. I guess they're just not. To the tune of 70%. I don't know how this is calculated. I really don't. Just regurgitating the information. But apparently, young Americans spending 70% less time either hosting or even just attending parties compared to about 25 years ago, the start of the century, start of the millennium. As to why? Well, not a huge amount of information about that other than just anecdotal stuff. I mean, you also hear about not just the average young person and how they celebrate whatever, but, you know, I hear it from the locker room of sports teams where you've got kind of the older guard, the established players have been around for a while, and then new generations coming in, and they're just not even kind of on the same level as to how they celebrate after a win, you know? Some people are like, well, we go and we drink at the bar, and then others are like, no, we have some gummies and we play some video games. It's like just a different approach, you know? But I still think people are having fun, just maybe doing a little bit less of the crazy partying. Is it a bad thing? I don't know. It's a changing thing is what it is. Not everywhere in the RMWB, but select areas, certainly ones that maybe see a little bit more bear activity in the warmer months. Again, these new bear bins, anti-bear, bear-resistant, I guess bins is probably the proper way of saying it. I don't know if they're anti-bear. They've got all kinds of slogans all over them, you know. Not a bear in my neighborhood. Get out of here. I mean, no, but they can be dangerous, right? And we don't want them too close or getting habitual about where they can find some human food. So these are smart. I guess my only hope is that they're, you know, not also inadvertently completely human resistant as well. I can see that being an eventuality. I hope that they're just, you know, simple to use unless you are a bear. That is really the goal here.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Putt like happy with your own official hockey stick putter. This has been released by Callaway Golf. They're getting in on the release of Happy Gilmore 2. The sequel is going to be coming out later this month. It is a Netflix original out on the 25th. And Callaway, I'm imagining they've got to be featured as product placement or something. There's a deal that went on. They're in the movie. They're involved because they're also now selling in the real world a $500 replica of the hockey stick putter, the classic iconic putter used in the new movie, but very much based on the sight gag from the first movie, and will even, of course, as an official licensed release, include a Happy Gilmore 2 sock cover for your new investment. Protect it a little bit, put it into the golf bag, get to have people that you're golfing with go, hey, wait, is that the thing? Let me see, let me try it. And, you know, though it does come with that sock cover, it also comes with a notice that while official and from Callaway, this putter does not conform to the rules of the game of golf. What, it doesn't? Well, there goes my suspension of disbelief.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
We have an explanation as to why Motley Crue was not at the big farewell show for Black Sabbath, happening earlier in the month, and it's simply because of illness, something going on. Now, they've been associated for many, many years. In a recent Instagram post, to explain why they weren't there, they did also say Ozzy and Sharon gave Motley Crue their first real big tour in '84, gave them the chance to play in front of Ozzy, and actually broke the band. They were never really able to recover from that, and was a great start, you know. And so they say congrats on an amazing career. The reason that they weren't in attendance or able to play was simply health issues within the band. They didn't go on to explain any details, but they did have to postpone Las Vegas residency dates earlier in the year due to an unspecified procedure, something medical that Vince Neil was going through. So that's all the information we have on that for now. My Chemical Romance have kicked off officially their Long Live the Black Parade tour, playing the album in full, live in front of absolutely rapt audiences. But not just that, they're being very generous after the album is performed. The count at one of the shows was an 11-song encore. I think they're getting their money's worth. I think so. That's it for music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve.
Tuesday.
There's a new dating app on the way for single riders. Emphasis on single. Just like you hear when you go to the theme park, right? This is the single riders only line. This is a new dating app, not out yet, and some people are super excited. In fact, some people saying it's the only dating app they would ever interact with. Others may be a little skeptical because the numbers might not be as high as other ones like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, whatever. But, I mean, a niche dating thing so that you definitely know that you're dealing with other Disney adults is probably a wise thing for the Disney adults. That can be a super fun pastime. I don't know about making it an entire personality and going all the time. It just seems expensive to me. It just seems like a lot of money. And especially right now, Canadians questioning whether or not to travel to places, theme parks, locations in the United States. But that's a whole different conversation. Do you think that you would get down with a single riders app, dating app, to find that special someone? My only concern is that once you do, you're no longer going in the single riders line. You got to wait longer for the rides. Getting into it, Damon Albarn going to be releasing some new music. At some point, the frontman for Blur, as well as the Gorillaz, has seen a reunion with Blur in the age of Oasis coming back as well. They're contemporaries, but now he's focusing on a few different things. He says he was just doing an opera in Paris and starting on the new Gorillaz record, which will be in 4 languages. Says it's been a strange, crazy time, but the world's gone crazy, so it doesn't really actually seem in any way strange. Temper your expectations, though. We won't see any of that new music until at least 2026. In bizarre news, Stevie Wonder having to defend the blindness that he lives with. There's a long-standing conspiracy that that's not actually the case. He simply said, when asked about it, jokingly, joking about the speculation, he said, "You know the truth." It's so obvious. Sad news to end off on, though. David Kaff, an actor and the keyboardist for Spinal Tap, the Is It Real, Is It Just a Joke comedy band of the This Is Spinal Tap movie and upcoming sequel as well, has passed away, unfortunately. He was actually well known for one-liners throughout the movie. In fact, he has the very last line in the original Spinal Tap film: "Have a good time all the time. That's my philosophy." He has died at the age of 79.
Wednesday.
We're getting some information, some movement on the Legend of Zelda movie adaptation. I had to. Casting news, direct from the guy who created the Legend of Zelda series in the first place, Miyamoto. He has announced the characters and the actors that are going to be playing them. We kind of expected we'd see Princess Zelda as well as Link, and that's who has been announced. Bo Bragison, I guess, is going to be playing Zelda. Don't know this person all that well in terms of what they've been in, but I guess Renegade Nell. If you watched that on Netflix, she was in it, as well as the crime drama on BBC, The Jetty. And Ainsworth, a guy named Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, is going to be playing Link. Silent in the games, probably not going to be so silent in this, particularly because he hasn't been in much himself either. He's only 16, but he was in the Netflix series The Haunting of Bly Manor from Mike Flanagan. That was the big follow-up to The Haunting of Hill House. I hadn't watched it at the time. I'm actually just watching through it now. So as soon as I saw this casting announcement, I went, hey, I know exactly who this kid is, and he's kind of creepy in the show, so maybe we'll get a creepy Link. I don't know. We'll have to wait. And I do mean wait. They've just announced this. It's going to take forever for this to even come out. They do have a date in mind of 2027 in May. So I'm just saying, don't hold your breath. You're probably going to need like a time-traveling flute to get yourself there. Otherwise, patience is the key. Well, we've got Soundgarden in the news because they weren't in the final farewell show for Black Sabbath with the reunion of the original members, all that stuff that happened on July 5th. Very monumental moment in rock and metal music, but Soundgarden was not there, and some fans were speculating that might have been the band, the so-called band that Sharon Osbourne kicked to the curb and wouldn't allow to be in that lineup of incredible acts. But they did not make their scheduled appearance at the show. And they've now shared an official statement with fans. People, quick to notice their absence. It says, "Your majestic brilliance inspired greatness in scores of other bands. However, the crown will forever remain yours." With just huge thanks. And thanks to the members, thanks to Sharon, thanks to the music director, Tom Morello, for the honor and invitation to the festival. They just simply couldn't make it. It's just as simple as that. Although I don't really see an exact explanation as for why, I don't think there's any bad blood. Meanwhile, Deftones have got some new music out. They are promoting the new album that's going to be on the way, Private Music, with a new single called My Mind is a Mountain. They're stylizing it all with no capital letters. Very curious, but if you want to hear My Mind is a Mountain, that is available right now, and the actual album is going to be a little bit later on in the year, and they're going to be supporting it in a tour that kicks off in January, so you got a ways to go. And finally, Fire Festival. The IP, the intellectual property, has been sold for less than $250,000, but still the fact that we're talking about the $250,000 mark being close by is just way too much. It was sold on eBay of all places by McFarlane, the guy who owns it and the guy who has been, well, doing all the crazy stuff with it since Fire Festival became a household name.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
I hate how good of an idea this is. I really do. It's like under my skin, bothering me a little bit. The collectible popcorn bucket war continues. Freakier Friday is going to have the return of Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis doing some body-swapping Disney stuff. August 8th, I guess. But they have now announced what the popcorn bucket situation is going to be. They've revealed their entry into the popcorn bucket craze that Dune 2 really made reach the fever pitch. This time, it's actually a matching set. A drink cup that actually holds your popcorn, and a popcorn bucket that you put your drink into, but they're disguised with lids that show the other thing on top. I hate that this is actually a genius idea. It's so simple, and it's perfect for the movie, and actually, perfect for people like me. I always want less popcorn than I have, and I always want more drink than I have, so a match made in heaven. I might just have to do it. Or see if they'll just let me fill my drink cup with popcorn and then go fill up my bucket, my bag at the fountain. Something tells me it's not going to work out. Those bags aren't really water safe.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.